Hello, good morning. Welcome. My name's Kevin Loft. I'm the GEMS principal here at Wellington Academy here in Dubai, but I also have the pleasure of working with the Varkey Teacher Ambassador Program, which means for the last few days I've had the pleasure of working with these top 10 teachers that you see in front of you now. Today we're just going to ask them a few questions just so that you can start to get to know them and learn a bit about them. And I'm going to start with a simple but important question first about who or what inspires you to be a teacher. Okay, so if we start with Melissa.
Hello everybody, my name is Melissa Salguero. I am a music teacher in the South Bronx in America. And what inspires me every single day, besides my students, my journey to this very seat right here was because of a teacher. Miss Deborah Bauer was my 5th grade teacher and she absolutely changed my life. I struggled with school, and so she gave me an opportunity to become a safety patrol. As you can read in the program, it's like a hall monitor. That's all it is. But it taught me to serve others and help lift everyone up. So that's what I think of every single day.
Vladimir? We've got several people that are having translations today, so there'll be a bit of a backwards and forwards as we do that.
მასწავლებელი, იმიტომაც გავხდი, რომ ჩემ მოსწავლების პერიოდში იყო ძალიან ბევრი შიში. ანუ შიში ვიზდებოდით, მე მეშინოდა კლასის ხელმძღვანელის, მეშინოდა დირექტორის, მეშინოდა მშობლის. აქედან გამომდინარე, როდესაც მე საკლასო ოთახში თმები პირდაპირ საკლასო ოთახში შემჭრეს, იმიტომ რომ ცეკვის მასწავლებელი მეუბნებოდა რომ გაიზარდე, ხოლო სკოლის მოსწავლე მეუბნებოდა რომ შეიჭარი. აქედან გამომდინარე არ ჰქონდა შეცდომის დაშვების უფლება.
When I was studying during my studentship, the system was based on fear. Basically, I was afraid of my principal. I was afraid of my even classmates, my teachers, and that's why I wanted to change the reality. And that was basically the biggest inspiration. Once that happened, that I was my hair was cut during the real classroom. That kind of things happened. So again, it was based on fear. So I wanted to change the reality, and that's why I became a teacher.
და მე მაშინ ვიყავი მერვე კლასში, როდესაც თმა შემაჭრეს. მე მაშინ მასწავლებელი უნდა შემძულებოდა, მაგრამ მე მიზნად დავისახე, რომ გამხდარიყავი მასწავლებელი და არსებული რეალობა შემეცვალა.
And I was in the 8th grade when that happened, when they cut my hair in the classroom. So I was supposed to hate teachers, but then I decided that I have to become a teacher and change the reality.
Thank
მე
you.
ყველაზე ბედნიერი ვარ, იმიტომ რომ მე ნაწილობრივ შევცვალე ეს ყველაფერი.
And I'm very happy that I was able to, partly change that reality.
Thank you. And we'll ask the same question to Deborah. Translations on channel 2 into English. Who inspired you as a teacher? Who inspired you as a teacher?
Bom, eu tive excelentes professores durante a minha formação na educação, o que me possibilitou fazer a diferença. Mas uma frase que me marcou, ainda no magistério, que é o ensino técnico em formação de professores, foi: se eu não fosse uma boa professora, eu ia assassinar por ano 30 crianças. Porque a professora comparava a nossa profissão com uma profissão de médicos. E hoje, eu multiplico isso pela quantidade de alunos que eu tenho. Se eu não for uma professora, eu posso então estar assassinando por ano 780 crianças.
And Andrew, if I can ask you a slightly different question. What made you want to be a teacher?
Yeah. Is it on? Yeah. Hi everyone. So I can remember when I was very little, 6 or 7, I wasn't like the other boys, didn't like football. I liked ABBA actually. So there was a teacher called Mr. Penson, and he was very sporty and the popular teacher in the school, and all the kids loved him. And I was put in his class when I was 8 years old, and I was absolutely terrified because I thought, well, he's not going to like me because he's very sporty and I'm not like that. But what changed everything was the last day of term before we went into his class, he stopped me in the corridor and he said, "Hey," and I was like, "Oh," and he said, "You're Andrew Moffat." I said, "Yes." He said, "I can't wait till you're in my class next year." Now that changed my whole world because actually A, he knows my name, and B, he likes me. He wants me in his class, and that's the kind of teacher that I want to be.
Yeah.
Yes, so if I could ask you, what's your main challenge as a teacher?
I think I'm Yesterday. I'm from Sydney, Australia. I think my main challenge as a teacher in working with students is that I guess it's a challenge that we all face, that things are changing so rapidly around us. And I'm also a teacher leader working in professional learning, coaching and mentoring. And I think in order for us to be able to adapt to the needs of our students, we need to be able to protect and advocate for the time for teachers to be able to work together, to come together in forums like this and share ideas. And I think that's something that all around the world we need to be promoting more.
Thank you. And Martin, how can we keep the attention of children at school?
Hello. La atención de los alumnos la mantengo tratando de que ellos sean el protagonista de la clase donde yo desarrollo. Lo primero que trato de hacer es conocerlos para saber cuáles son sus inquietudes.
So Martin teaches at a technical school in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and he says the way he keeps the attention of his students is by getting to know them so he knows what their abilities and their talents are.
Cuando uno conoce al alumno sabe qué es lo que lo va a atrapar, y esas son las estrategias que yo desarrollo en el aula para que presten atención y no se me pierdan en el camino cuando le estoy dando conocimiento.
So when you get to know your students, you know what strategies to use to keep their attention and to keep them engaged in the classroom.
Esa es la principal estrategia que yo desarrollo y es mi herramienta, tratar de conocer el alumno.
So that's the main strategy that he uses to keep the attention of the students, to get to know them.
Thank you. Daisy, why is it important to involve children in the learning process?
In my opinion, it's the most important thing to involve them, because when you do involve children, you get ownership. And when children feel the ownership, they become like their own teacher. So actually, we're not needed, we are needed, but we have a different role for them. And I totally agree with Martin, what he said, to truly listen to children, to be as a teacher real open-minded and let everything go what's in your head, and truly see children and ask them open questions so that they feel competent themselves and not only are depending on the teacher, but feel they are can depend on themselves and who they are.
And Swaroop, if I can ask you, what made you want to change your career and become a teacher?
Yes, I'm Swaroop, and like what he said is I'm a real late starter. At 19, I was a dropout, and I was a Miss India and working in films. I started studying again at 37 because I had 2 children and I could see the stress from inside. Education was really stressing out children. So I decided to get into the field and do something that would, make them more resilient and make them stronger. So I started working in life skill education, but it's not as simple as that. I used all my learning from what I was doing since I was 18. I used drama in education. And I had 2 inspirations for that. One is Dorothy Heathcote, who was an actress who became one of the most leading educators of England. And I said, if she can do it, I can do it too. And one wonderful woman called Eglantine Jebb, who started Save the Children during the World War. That's what I want to do, change the lives of all the children in the world.
And Peter, if you can tell us, what are you most passionate about when you're teaching?
What I'm very passionate about when I'm teaching is when I see my students having progress. They come from very needy families, and in this case I just try to introduce ways that can make them develop that confidence. And one of the things I've done is, especially the girls, I've been mentoring them to participate in science, coming up with science innovations. And then I've gone extra mile ahead, even to like whatever it takes, becoming a brother, Franciscan brother, whereby I contribute my income, ensuring that these kids are very comfortable with things.
And so another question for all of you. Swarup, you started talking about it just there. What is your dream? What is your dream? Daisy, if we could start with you.
My dream is that child participation and child emancipation is the new norm in every school. I think most of the time we as teachers want to decide for our children, and school leaders want to decide for the teachers, and policymakers decide for the boards. And I think we have to flip the system and start from the bottom up and start with the children. And the children are the ones we are educating every day. So when we take their ideas and their challenges and their solutions seriously, I think education will be much better.
Yesterday, what's your dream?
My dream is that teachers throughout their career feel supported and valued in order for them to do the best work that they can for their students. And I think we hear far too often about the high burnout in teaching, how we have many graduates who do not continue beyond a certain amount of years, and it's different in every country, and even the fact that we don't have enough qualified teachers in different parts of the world. And I think, for education to be successful, we need to make sure that our teachers, firstly, are qualified, are supported, and are mentored throughout their whole career, not just at the start, not just bits and pieces here. And we involve teachers, like both Sunny and Vikas said this morning, at every level of the conversation, so they can be the ones driving that change.
Thank you. And Melissa, I guess same question, what's your dream?
Well, as I mentioned before, I'm a music teacher, so music can change the world. I'm going to say it. Every single person in this room has a song that they love. And my song is Don't Stop Believin'. It is literally the first song I taught my kids when I came to school. And it has been an anthem of my life. And if you truly want to see a school become a community of educated learners loving to come to school, make sure it has a music program. My dream is to see a music program in every single school, regardless of socioeconomic status. Beyond those barriers and those walls that divide us, music can unite us. And that is my dream.
And if I can ask the same question to Deborah, what is your dream?
Bom, eu tenho muitos sonhos. Como professora, como educadora, entre eles a possibilidade de transformar a sociedade através da educação. Que nossas crianças ao redor do mundo tenham a possibilidade, tenham a oportunidade de estar dentro de uma sala de aula, que eles possam estar aprendendo e, mais do que isso, que possamos ter altas expectativas para todos os nossos alunos, mas também para todos os nossos professores.
So, I have many dreams. As a teacher, as an educator, I do believe that every single child deserves to be in the classroom, and I do have high expectations for the children, but also for the teachers.
Thank you. Vladimir, how can a good relationship between teachers and students be achieved?
მასწავლებლობა არის ძალიან ბევრი კარების წინაშე რო აღმოჩნდება ერთი ადამიანი და ძალიან ბევრი გასაღები რო გაქვს და გინდა ყველას მოარგო. უკვე დრო დადგა რომ ჩვენი მოსწავლეები ვაღიაროთ, ვიმეგობროთ და ვაღიაროთ მათი გამოწვევები, თუ რა ელოდებათ მათ მომავალში.
Being a teacher it's something like standing in front of different doors and having different keys. And it's time that we recognize our students. That's the most important thing. We recognize their challenges. We recognize what they're facing. And I think that that's the major key to have good communication with them.
ბევრი უნდა ვიწვალოთ, ბევრი უნდა გავაღოთ, მაგრამ როცა კარი გაიღება, ისინი ლადო მასწავლებლებსაც ჯობია.
We have to, struggle a little bit. We have to do our best. But whenever we open these doors, they would be better than we are.
Thank you. And Deborah, what gave the idea to use garbage in your lessons, and why is it important?
Bom, a ideia de usar lixo nasceu da própria realidade dos meus alunos. São crianças que vivem em extrema pobreza, sem saneamento básico, e que me relatavam que a maior dificuldade que eles tinham de ir para a escola em dias de chuva era a questão do lixo por questões de alagamento, e mais do que isso, por questões de doença como dengue e leptospirose. Como professora, eu não podia ficar indiferente com essa realidade. E a única oportunidade que eu tinha era atuar sobre essa questão do lixo. Então, o lixo foi a matéria-prima para que eu pudesse trazer a tecnologia para dentro da favela e transformar a vida de 2.000 crianças.
Basically, I just listened to my children. We had major concerns about diseases. There's no basic sewage in the slums. So I listened to the children, and we managed to bring all that trash back into the classrooms and transform.
Okay, and Daisy, how is it possible to teach students with such a diverse range of nationalities and cultures in the school? A simple one.
Okay, a simple one this time. No, I think it's all about seeing similarities, and when you focus on similarities, everything falls off. For example, we did a project about world religions, and actually a lot of children in my classroom are Muslim, so they really wanted to know how Christianity, what their religion is, and the Jewish people. And so they asked themselves research questions. So they decided to go to the church, who is actually quite close to our school. And I gave them an exercise to think about questions they want to ask in church to the pastor. So it's all about, again, listening to children, but also see similarities. And their conclusion was Christianity and Islam are quite the same. There are not so many differences, a lot of similarities.
Great. Thank you. Hidekazu, what made you want to combine two subjects together? Yes, my turn.
Okay. Hello, my name is Hidekazu Shoto. I'm from Japan. I'm using Minecraft in my English class, but I'm a primary school teacher, so I teach all subjects, but mainly I teach English and ICT. But we need a lot of time to master English, right? So only English, we teach English in English class only. We don't have enough time for the student to master English. So that is why we combined many classes into English. English is just a tool, We can learn social studies through English. We can learn mathematics through English. We can learn ICT through English. So that is why we collaborate with teachers like social studies teachers, math teachers, art teachers. We collaborate together and combine in one project. My project ran through about 10 months. So we took a lot of classes, and they have a lot of opportunities to use English. So English is just a tool. So that is why I combine all together.
Swaroop, how can the arts and life skills education contribute to learning?
That's really interesting because arts is really simple. It is ART, action, reflection, transformation. And the same thing is about life skill education. So when I'm talking about life skill education, I'm talking about psychosocial skills, very clear, not livelihood skills. And the core life skills I'm talking about is the skills I've been hearing all morning. Understanding and managing emotions, understanding the self, problem solving, decision making, creative thinking, critical thinking, effective communication skills, and skills of empathy. So these are the skills that are so important in our life. We just can't do anything without them. I mean, a lot of people say social emotional and they forget the cognitive. That's creative thinking and critical thinking. Now using it through art, the thing is that you have to learn these life skills in a very correct way. You can't learn it in a lecture format. You have to learn it through experiential learning, and that's where arts come in. So basically drama, which is one art which is very different from music and painting. It can be done it cannot be done without an audience. You just have to have an audience. So the audience is not an audience like this. The audience is the classroom, and we are each other's audience. And you experience all the moments you have to learn, and you learn through that. There's a very important element in drama in education which I use, which is like what Dewey says, experience is not learning, but reflection on experience is learning. So again, action, reflection, transformation.
Thank you. And Andrew, why is it important to have inclusion as a feature of a school?
I'll start again. Inclusion is vital so all children know they belong. If you stay for my masterclass, in a minute I'm going to talk about this. It follows this session. But it's about children knowing they belong. All children have got to know they belong. If this was our class now, look along this line, you know, we've got different skin, different eye colour, different religion, different language, different families. We're different in lots of ways, but we've all got to know we belong in your classes. If we don't teach that, then there is a danger we have things like Christchurch happening, where you know, that's how hate starts. So we've got to be really, really confident about teaching children that we are different, but we can get along. It's a very clear message.
And Melissa, how can music promote children's self-confidence and self-worth?
Oh my goodness, yeah. Okay, South Bronx is not by the numbers, the South Bronx, Stephen Ritz, you know this, right? It's not an attractive place. It's a place that can appear in a very depressed area, right? But I'll tell you one thing. This morning, listening to all the inspirational speakers, right? Talent is everywhere. Opportunity is not. That will stay with my heart forever because every child deserves to be heard. Like Martin said in his video, I love that. And just because you live in an area where about 15,000 semi-trucks come into the Hunts Point area every single day, and you're suffering with asthma, and you have all these challenges that are trying to stop you. It is very important to teach kids to be resilient and to teach them through any subject, not just music. Okay, we can learn a song and they have a choice to give up. You can learn a math equation and you have a choice to give up. And what I really preach every single day is to teach them to endure the struggle and really keep trying to do their best every single day through music.
Yeah.
And Martin, how do you keep kids in school?
Es más difícil que la fórmula de la Coca-Cola.
It's more difficult than the formula for Coca-Cola.
Tratando de desarrollar en ellos el sentido de pertenencia. Cuando digo que ellos son protagonistas, quiero que ellos sean los los líderes y los agentes de cambio de sus pequeñas comunidades, tratando de darle valores para que ellos entiendan lo importante que es la educación.
So we need to try to ensure that the students are protagonists and that the curriculum is relevant so they can use that curriculum to become change agents within their own community and transform their communities.
Trabajar en los proyectos que tengo a cargo, como es la radio y el proyecto de los motocarros, a lo largo de los años me demostró que aparte de ser ellos protagonistas, descubrieron sus vocaciones. Y al descubrir ellos sus propias vocaciones en el hacer, eso es lo que ellos se sienten partícipes y están dentro de la escuela trabajando.
Okay, so Martin just mentioned that the two programs that he directs, the radio program and the program for the motor cars, the students have used real life skills and they've used hands-on learning to find their own vocations. And finding their own vocations was the coolest part of directing those two projects.
Gracias.
Yesterday. How do you teach children to deal with prejudice?
I think that is one of the greatest privileges of being a history and humanities teacher, and I know in all of our subjects this is something that we all address. I work at a school where 50% of our students come from a non-English speaking background, and in order to, I guess, first acknowledge what prejudice is, we need to start with the students in our classroom. We need to know them. But we need to find ways in the curriculum and to be creative in the way that we design assessment with high expectations that enables students to be able to explore their own heritages and backgrounds. So in Australia, we have an Australian curriculum, but I've had students tell me that they feel like in certain topics in history that they don't belong, when we're looking at Australian history. I myself was born in Sri Lanka. I grew up in country, New South Wales. And I guess for me, drawing upon my own background is something that I do in working with my students. And I too can share what they've told me, that they didn't feel like their background or heritage was part of that Australia. So for example, in history, one of the tasks that I designed that students have said they've got the most out of was really exploring the idea of what is public history? What is it that we see in our museums? What is it that we see in our media? And why is it that certain stories are privileged more than others? And if that's what we constantly see, even in popular culture, then there is, if we don't analyse that and think about why certain stories are not promoted, then there is prejudice. So the way to overcome that is by, back onto what Andrew was saying, and Daisy, in terms of being inclusive and asking and working with the students, it's to be able to give them a voice and to be able to give them a chance to learn and share with each other.
So Hidekazu, how do teachers use technology to inspire children?
Okay, people believe that Japan is a kind of high-tech country, but actually in education, it's very low-tech. It's no smartphone in the classroom, no PCs. Students just sit down, be quiet, take notes, remember all the things what I said, because you have a test. That's the education system. So, but we have a lot of technology around our lives. So it's good to use how to use smartphone to teach how to use smartphone to the students, or how to use PC or internet politely to the student. That's very important things. Before starting learning something throughout the internet or PCs. So students love to using the ICT things and I don't teach anything during. I'm using the Minecraft, which is a very popular game, and have you played that?
Yes.
Right. I teaching through the Minecraft, but I don't know how to play actually. Students asking me how to play this. Just share your idea with the groups, and they teach each other with the students. So that's a good point. I don't need to teach because they know how to play it or how to do it, or they can discuss how to play it or something. So that's ICT using ICT That's a good point to use ICT. So we don't need to teach, just give them time to use and master. Okay? Thank you.
And Peter, how do you raise your children's self-esteem and self-confidence?
In this case, I let them participate in activities which are student-centered. And in this case, in most cases, I use clubs, science clubs. I mentor them to come up with innovations. And in this case, like now, 2 years ago, 2017 and 2018, we had a group of students who went up to the national level. And like this year, we have students who are going to participate at the international level. So that one gives them confidence, and they are able to believe that they can even beat those big schools. And if they can do that, then even the other areas they can do very well.
Thank you. Final question to all of you is, why is creativity important in the classroom? So let's start with Andrew and we'll go along.
To make things exciting, to make things different. It's about children's involvement, getting them involved with each other, working together, collaboration. So short and simple.
I think it's about igniting creativity, because for every student and for every one of us, creativity is real. It's in a different way. I'm not creative at all in painting or whatever. I'm more creative in thinking, and I think it's about knowing in which part you are really creative, and then develop that so you know what your talents are.
A criatividade é fundamental para que a gente tire o aluno da passividade e traga ele para o processo do centro de aprendizagem.
Creativity is essential to take students from stop being passive, so they're the center of the learning process.
E permite que ele inove dentro da sala de aula com uma aprendizagem envolvente e significativa.
To allow innovation in the classroom.
E que sejam transformadores da sua própria história.
And this way we allow children to be changing their own story.
I have a very simple answer, because we need to teach creativity, because we are not a robot. In 10-20 years from now, maybe we'll get a lot of robots around us, AI things, but AI or robots can create something? No. So we are not robots. We are human beings. That is why we need a creativity. Thank you.
Es importante crear porque te lleva a pensar, a reflexionar, a entender para ser. Son las cualidades más importantes para ser libres.
Creativity is important because it allows you to think, reflect, and be free.
Thanks.
So, on this side of the room, why is happiness important in a classroom? Yasuda, if you want to start that one.
Happiness is crucial in a classroom. Teaching is all about relationships, and if we don't first of all cultivate our students as individuals and as young people, and if they're not happy, we need to be able to look at ways or the barriers that are impacting on that student's happiness, because ultimately, in order to be successful, we need to be happy, and I don't think we should be measuring any other success than that. Thank you.
ჩვენი მოსწავლეები მუდმივად ოჯახური პრობლემებს განიცდიან. აქვთ ქვეყანაში სხვადასხვა გამოწვევები. აქედან გამომდინარე, სკოლაში მეტად მნიშვნელოვანია ის იყოს ბედნიერი და ხალისიანი. თუ ისინი ბედნიერები არ იქნებიან, მაშინ შეიძლება ისინი გახდნენ მუდმივად ოჯახური პრობლემებზე დამოკიდებულები და აღარ განვითარდნენ.
Yeah, if we give some context to this, in our class, there are students who have, problems in their families. They're, victims of domestic violence, and so on and so forth. And if we don't have, happiness in the classroom, they might not learn. They might not develop. They might be dependent on those problems, on those challenges, and it will be impossible for them to, to grow and develop themselves. And basically.
ჩემი საკლასო ოთახი ხშირად სპორტული მოედანია, ზოგჯერ გამგებლის ოთახი, შემდეგ შეიძლება სკოლის სახურავზეც კი ჩავატაროს გაკვეთილი, რა თქმა უნდა უსაფრთხოების დაცვით, შეიძლება ხეზეც ჩავატარო და მდინარის პირას.
Yeah, I have my classrooms differ from each other. We might have classrooms on the roof, on the tree, in different environments. So I try to make it as creative as possible and as diverse as possible.
მათ ცვლილებებით ჭირდება ბედნიერებისათვის ჭირდება ბევრი ცვლილებები.
And for them to be happy, for happiness, they need a lot of changes in the system.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to say something that's very different. I do not agree with the word happiness. I don't think happiness is a default state. But I feel that the classroom should be filled with love, care, and fun. Because without fun, it is impossible to learn. Even you cannot learn without fun. So children obviously can't learn. You need that flow state, which is a relaxed state where I'm accepting everything. We forget that learning is not only cognitive, but it's even emotional. So I don't agree with a state of happiness, because the opposite of, say, depression is not happiness, it's vitality. So I would think love, care, and fun.
Thank you.
Okay, to me, my students, they come from different backgrounds, and in this case, I have to ensure that they are very happy. And I do it in different ways. One of them is using humor, but at times I make learning to be very interesting, like I use the local available materials. At times you may find me in class with bananas or even bread, and in that case, it makes them very happy. It makes them concentrate in their studies. Yeah, thank you.
I echo everything that they said, and I don't want to say the same thing, so I'm going to say something to each of you. And I'm going to ask you today to do something, and you might not know everybody here, but I want you just to go compliment somebody. As I'm looking at you now, you are beautiful. Oh my gosh. Everybody in this room has a beautiful soul.
You are awesome.
But it immediately will make your day much brighter and much happier. And if a student walks into my room and something is wrong, they are worth the time that it takes during my lunchtime, during after school, before school. I don't care. Take the time to listen to them. Take the time to talk to them, and take the time to compliment them, no matter what it is. I love this blouse you have on. It's beautiful. But you genuinely have to mean it. Do not lie to your kids, and truly, truly appreciate them every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a massive round of applause for our top 10 finalists 2019?